Welcome back. Now that we have covered the background of GDPR, let's get into a bit more detail about it. For GDPR, there are data protection principles we need to meet. We need to transparently process data in a fair and lawful manner. These principles ensure that all data held is under a lawful basis that is relevant to our organization, basically making sure we have a legitimate reason to hold data. For example, we need personal information to issue employment contracts or to add an employee to our payroll. We must ensure we collect data for lawful purposes and only use the data for its correct purpose, so it's important that we think carefully about personal data, because there can be some heavy fines. What we really want to emphasize here is the importance of only collecting data that we need, only retaining data that is necessary, and only using data for the purpose for which it was provided to you. Data must also be up to date. All data must be stored correctly so that the individual can only be identified for as long as it is necessary. So, here's a bit of homework for you all. Have a check through your emails, phones, desk and filing cabinets and delete or shred any unneeded data. If you're unsure about what can be deleted or shredded, then ask your line manager. Remember, personal data must be disposed of securely. Storing and protecting data properly is a vital part of staying clear from GDPR breaches. A data breach occurs when the security of personal data has been undermined, resulting in destruction, loss, or unauthorized disclosure of data. For example, if data is posted or emailed to the wrong address, or even if data is left in an unsecure location like a communal printer, or if the data is lost or stolen. If a breach happens, we must act immediately. Report it to your data protection officer and your line manager. The data protection officer will record the breach and report to the Information Commissioner's office if necessary. That's collecting and storing data covered. But how do we protect it? Well, the main point of protecting data is to make sure it isn't used unlawfully or that it is not lost or damaged. So think before sending data anywhere. Oh, and make sure never to leave it unattended. Individuals also have rights when it comes to their data. People have the right to be informed of how their data is going to be used, so this is where our privacy policy comes into play, which is readily available on our website. Individuals have the right of access to their data, unless there is a valid reason not to disclose it. So, be careful with how you record the data. If someone requests access to their data, contact your line manager immediately. If data is incorrect or incomplete, it must be updated, as individuals have the right to rectification. And finally, individuals have the right for data to be erased, and they can request this in certain circumstances. If anyone does request this, then pass it on to your data protection officer, because there are time limits that need to be adhered to. So, remember, only collect data that is essential. Keep data confidential and secure at all times. Don't share data unless it has been authorized, and don't keep data any longer than necessary. If a breach happens, it must be reported to your line manager immediately. And that's a wrap. I hope you're all feeling a lot more confident about GDPR now. Thanks for listening.